All right. So yeah, really glad to be here. I don't know exactly how many people we have that are joined with us, but I heard there are many. So good job, Arcware team and ICE for organizing this event. And I'm glad that we are having a conversation because this is my favorite topic in the world, and I'm especially interested of the afterwards panel where everyone can ask questions and we can sort of have a discussion of the field here. So yeah, um, just an intro from my side. Aver is a 3D studio founded 8 years ago in Estonia by two students that were VR fanatics. I was the very first person in my hometown, Viljandi, who had the Oculus Rift VR glasses, and it was wild times. So we wanted to start something, a company in this field. Didn't know exactly what to do. So with my partner, we took a loan and we bought a virtual tour camera, Matterport. I'm sure many of you know the company Matterport. And then over the years, after that, we have done more than 1,000 virtual tours, mainly in Scandinavia, but also in Europe, for real estate companies, for factories, hospitality, and physical showrooms, which is funny because those physical showrooms that exist physically somewhere, they have all these products there. They asked us to come there and take a virtual tour so they can put it online and stream the. I see my screen is lost now. Yeah, here you go. So yeah, those same companies, they wanted to share their physical showroom to everybody in the internet, but they couldn't because there was no way. And that's why we slowly started to shift our focus from virtual tours and VR to Unreal based 3D solutions, because the same clients from real estate, from product manufacturing, from physical showrooms, they needed interactive 3D content in their web browser, where you have more options than just walking around.
Say something, I'm talking.
So yeah, and these days we are more focused, like last few years we are more focused on Unreal Engine based content. We have worked together with big companies like ABB, Samsung, Jaguar, Sony, many others, and we are creating VR experiences, product configurators, 3D visuals, animations, etc. We have 8 people, a core team of 8 people here in Estonia, but also we have over 10 people as a partner network that help us deliver the projects. Mainly we focus on Europe, but this year also we try to expand in Dubai. So that's about it, about our. But today I'm here by an invitation from Arcware to talk about virtual showrooms. And for me, of all the projects we have done over the years, virtual showrooms are my favorite topic. We envisioned virtual showrooms as such long before there was technology to enable it. We were writing on the whiteboard, and we had a vision, and we had clients who wanted something like this, but there wasn't a good solution to offer accessible web browser experiences, because all those experiences we could do, you needed to download the let's say 6 GB file and then run it locally with your powerful GPU, which is it cuts off like 99.9% of the people who could use those showrooms or solutions. So yeah, really glad that Arcware invited me here, because Arcware and thus we have been working together since the beginning, where Arcware was still in beta. With their help and with their exceptional customer support, we have delivered now more than 10 pixel streaming solutions to our clients. And later, I have some case studies. The results for our clients have been wonderful, and I really hope that this webinar today also sparks some interest in people to even launch their own 3D agencies and establish this technology, because there's so much you could do here. So what is a virtual showroom? There could be many definitions, but for me, uh, I will propose virtual showroom is a digital space that does exactly what the physical showroom does, but with the reach and intelligence of a digital platform. So what does it mean? The challenge with some sectors, let's say real estate, design products, marine, aviation, automotive, is that you have a product on hand which has many variations. The product, the price starts at, let's say, 5,000 euros. In some cases, it starts in 100K or even more. And you want to sell it to your customer. And on the other end, there is a customer, and they may even want to buy it, but maybe there's a big distance between them. One is from Australia, one is from Estonia. Estonia produces great products, I know that, but in Australia, how do they know that? How do they get the experience of the product? So the only way so far has been entering different markets, creating physical showrooms, or finding resellers that produce those physical showrooms. You need to manufacture the demo products, and then the time and the cost related to creating a physical showroom compared to the digital showroom, it's it's they're not, even not like comparable. So yeah, how can we use this technology to bridge the gap? Some benefits of virtual tours, virtual showrooms. Sorry, um, I see my video is again. You don't see my screen. Wait a second. Yep. So virtual showrooms, they're open 24/7 globally. You can reach everyone who has a decent internet connection. You can reach everyone who has any kind of device, mobile device, desktop device, laptop, tablet, whatever. Uh, and and virtual showrooms have relatively low running costs. And the most important part is that if you have a physical showroom, you don't gather real data about your users, but you can do it with virtual showrooms. I will show you later. So with one of my Estonian clients, a manufacturing company who has our pixel streaming solution, we did a calculation of what the physical showroom would cost them annually versus how much the solution we provided them at first cost them. So if you want to run a physical showroom, you have to pay rent, utilities, you have to hire staff, and then you need to set up the showroom, demo products, furniture, etc. 10K, it's in some cases it's so much more. It's just like to show you. Um, with virtual showrooms and using pixel streaming and those really interactive 3D content in browsers, you can have like upkeep fees 500 to 1,000 euros per month, and the setup fee depends on how many products you have, variations, how good 3D files you already have of your product portfolio, but the setup starts from like 10K. So there's something. Let's go to the interesting part. One client that produces this amazing design, igloo type houses and saunas and offices. We made them a virtual showroom. We put it on their webpage, and we put a lead form before people can access to the showroom. And in the 13-month period, test period with this client, average was that they got 605 unique leads per month through the virtual showroom. Additionally, they got like 400 leads per month additionally to their previous average website lead generation. The average usage time from all the users was 4 minutes 45 seconds. That we have already we took out the expiration time. Sometimes people just leave it open and go away. We already removed here the expiration time. So this is the real time people averagely use those kind of solutions. Based on the sales team's report, they say there's a 2-time increase in the sales process efficiency, mainly because customers have better product understanding. There's not so much PDF files, pictures, emails, they don't need to communicate that much. And there was really a cool case, like in the first 6 months, where we launched the showroom. A Australian private customer bought 100K worth of these houses without ever seeing them. So that was something for us. That this is actually our very first client to whom we delivered this kind of solution. It was a success, and that's why that's what got me excited about all of that. So what we also built on top of Arcware platform is this data gathering platform, where each time a person looks at some product or goes inside it or goes near it, we measure time. And after a while, the marketing team can make really good conclusions of what country has the most sessions, for example, or in which country the product model, like the different product models Eaglecraft has, they now know in which countries which product models are the most interesting for people. So that's how they can do marketing decisions, which ad creatives they want to share in those markets, on which products they need to focus on those markets, etc. And also here at the bottom, you can see for each showroom user, we can show, let me share my screen again. I don't know why this happens. So for each showroom user, we can show to Eaglecraft the time they spent there and exactly which products they were most engaging with. So Eaglecraft sales team actually has a tool as a virtual showroom and the data platform. Each morning they can go to office, the salespeople, and they can prioritize which leads they need to call, and they already know what products they are interested of. And if they would like, they can also see the details and see everything they did in the showroom. So I think that's really interesting. Another client we had, similar use case, was like this modular saunas, but they also deliver it like indoors. Their business model is a bit different because they use resellers. And from 2.5 years of collaboration with this company, we know that resellers from 10 plus countries are using this tool weekly in client meetings, and they report increase in sales conversion after this kind of solution came on their hands. Because in physical showroom, you cannot show the whole product portfolio, but with this kind of tool, you can do it. You can have each product variation here, and also the marketing data. They know exactly which ad visuals to target to which markets. You have a few examples, total session length by country. They can see in which countries there's most interest to their products. They can see the top products. Yeah. So, and we also did interviews with 30 end users from different virtual showroom clients, and based on what they say, why they use the solutions and why they value that, is that most of the time it's emotional confirmation. They already want the product, and they use the virtual showroom. Like in the evening, they're on a sofa, they're thinking about should I buy this or not, and they go to showroom. Once again, we saw in data that people were always like coming back in a week frame. They were like uh, they went in the showroom, then 2 days passed, they went again, and they made a buying decision, and we asked them, why did you do it? And it was like, I don't know, I was just emotional, I just wanted to like play around with that. So there's like this playful element in these virtual showrooms, and game engine based 3D interactive solutions that like confirm people, they help people make decisions. uh, Derk also mentioned it before, but if you have like really complex products which has many different variations, then it's actually not possible in physical showroom to showcase that product in all those variations, because you can build only one product in, let's say, car showroom. You can have like one model, but you cannot have all the variations with all the different configuration options there. So virtual showroom or product configurator 3D interactive solution, it's actually the only way to make complex products simple for end users. Product understanding, it comes faster, and also end users were saying that it was a wow experience for them. It was something that they remembered and told to others. So I don't have more case studies right now because there's a time limit. Afterwards, we can have a conversation. I can show some more. You can ask questions. We have many more demos. But just a little bit about like future trends. What I see is that major corporations right now, Apple, Samsung, Google, they're investing billions in mixed reality and like augmented reality technology. So a lot of the future web browsing experience will be spatial. People will have classes like those, but these act like web browsers, so you can like browse. And if you want, you can switch to 3D experience with the same classes. But if you want, you can just be in the reality, and you have layers on top of that. So I think that everything moves towards the spatial web experiences, and also like streaming. Soon, generated 3D will take effect. We already see it in AI, that a lot of the, let me share my screen again. We already see it in software development. You just write some prompts, and in front of you, you see a web page appearing. AI just writes code for you. Soon, the same thing will happen in 3D. Companies, marketing people, even usual people can just use prompts to create their own 3D experiences, 3D worlds, and we can visit them as persons, as companies. There will be many use cases. Some of them are meant for selling, some of them are meant for communication, some of them are meant for entertainment. But I see this is the way. There are some bottlenecks today, like most of the VR headsets today, they look like this, not very attractive. But the end goal is that they should look like this. And I see that may, maybe it's a conversation idea for later, but I see that pixel streaming is something that will also move to those classes, because you cannot have such computing power to have a great experience just physically in these classes without pixel streaming. So I think like internet infrastructure and compression algorithms and etc. AI, this will go there, that soon we are streaming everything with our classes. So yeah, I'm excited about the future of pixel streaming. And Arcware has been really helpful in terms of help from their customer support team. Each time we have had some problems with, let's say, optimization or how to set up some customer experience, custom experience, even the founders have been in call with us and helped us. So yeah, this was my presentation, and if you would like, then you can contact me now or later. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Madis. We actually are getting a fantastic amount of questions already, and I am very happy to see the chat livening up. So let's just first start with the questions, because obviously there have also been topics that we can answer a little bit more from the Arcware side. But Madis, my first question from the audience is, did you need to train, or did the company, your client, did they need to train the sales force to be able to deal with these type of 3D content?
I wouldn't say that there was training needed, but from our side, there was a really huge learning curve how to deliver a good user experience with pixel streaming solutions. So when we started, there wasn't a lot of inspiration. What?
No, it's all good. Manolis has opinions, and so please just keep going.
Okay, so we didn't have a lot of inspiration of what to do, so we just published something. We did UX research, and then after a while, the goal should be that we deliver a solution that doesn't need training, like a web browser, let's say web page. People shouldn't have training to use web page, so it should be the same with those 3D interactive solutions. So I would like to take responsibility here as a company to create a good user experience, so people don't need to learn anything, and it's really a safe environment where you are used to all the details there are.
Then another follow-up on the IglooCraft use case that you mentioned. You mentioned that the 3D application was hidden behind a form field. So people had to give their email address for them to be able to access the content. And then obviously your client contacted the people through the email address. So would it also be possible to do something similar, whether it is for IglooCraft or anyone else, that it would also lead to an actual checkout process?
Yes, and the initial delivery for IglooCraft was a solution without an option to send an inquiry. Today, you can go to IglooCraft solution and you can directly send an inquiry from the showroom. There is no technical barrier to also put a payment provider there and take a payment and sell the product right away. So far, we haven't had a client who would want something like that, but there's no technical barrier.
I want to ask if there are any more questions for Madis. Please ask them in the chat or in the question section. But we have one question already from Matthias.
Yeah. Thanks, Madis, for the presentation. Very, very cool stuff. So I got a quick question, because I always have questions. So of the implementation which you have currently, or like which is live for all of your clients, let's say how many % of the technical implementation of the solution which is live did you have to develop yourself, versus what's the kind of, or so the implementation time, versus what's the aspect of the Arcware, let's say, API or solution that it's just basically the off the shelf? Or is there something where you see let's say some of the development which you are let's say let's say the technical development you wish were potentially on the Arcware platform side already?
Yeah, in the early days, there were fewer options, but today Arcware has a really great documentation and templates and everything to really set up the projects as fast as possible and easily. From our side, we started off at really early stage time of that business opportunity. I will say we had a lot of mistakes we had to do and a lot of learning curves, and also here in Estonia, we wanted to hire an in-house Unreal Engine developer, not like a freelancer from another country. We wanted to have a conversation in real life, so it was really difficult to find one who could do it at that time. So we took a student, and there was like a lot of stuff to learn to deliver those solutions. But finally we did it, and these days it's so much easier. Today we deliver those solutions in I would say 20% of the time we did it at first.
That's super impressive. I mean, I just have if you have a time for another quick follow-up question, because I'm curious about this, and maybe we will hear a little bit more in other presentations. But so for me as an outsider of the technology, just learning about it, can you give a little bit of just a short introduction of, if you have an Unreal scene and you want, let's say, your client to have certain camera controls, or let's say certain, like a bounding volume of where you want the clients to go or to teleport to, or what they can click and how many degrees they can rotate things. Can you explain a little bit on how you would set this up, and if this is something that you would develop on the Unreal side in general, or if that's part of the Arcware platform? Just the general navigation and user experience, so the UX development side of things.
It depends on the solution. These days we always use web user interfaces. So it's a more seamless user experience for end customer if they see like web user interface and elements from the habitual stuff. Everything else, the interactions, the moving camera locations, 3D part, everything is in Unreal Engine. We don't use any other softwares today at all. We just use Unreal Engine and some web development on top of that, and that's how we deliver our solutions.
That actually takes me.
Yeah, technically, just one thing to your question, to constrain whatever you want to do, rotation or orbit, whatever, this always happens in Unreal. So you set the limits of the experience on whatever camera path or rotation. This happens all in Unreal.
Can you explain?
Yeah.
Can you explain the link of, let's say I have some sort of camera rig that allows me how to translate the camera, or let's say how to move around the scene, how this is then kind of translated to drive the camera actually that is rendered? Kind of what is the link between the mouse movement in the web and getting the pixels back?
Yeah, the input itself is directly, I mean, the same input you will have in a standalone application. That's then the Web SDK, or our Web SDK is already based on Epic Games pixel streaming infrastructure. That means we support mouse input, keyboard input, touch input, controller input, even VR lately. Of course, experimental. Latency is the killer there. But yeah, the same experience you will have in standalone application, you will have through a web browser in the same input. But the functionality of, limiting or capping some angles, making the experience more linear, this is all done in Unreal. That's it. you prepare all in Unreal.
I just want to say one more thing. Really great job, ICE, for organizing this event, all this camera setup, everything. These guys, I know Manolis and Derk from before, and usually they don't look as handsome as right now.
We still have some questions from the audience, and I love that we do because that's what we're here for. So Kevin asked some questions on how it's more like client management, and some also it kind of relates to the question that Matthias already asked. So when you talk with your customer, specifically, let's take Igloo Craft as an example, because obviously you've done many more customers. So what do they need to give you in terms of input for them to get that type of output? Because obviously if they just say like, hey, just give us 4 kilograms of 3D, then obviously that's not enough. And how long does it take for you to create such a project? So like you explain us what they need to give you to get started, you get started. When does the audience see it?
Yeah. In our experience, clients usually have a limited understanding of what can be done. So we need to inspire them. That's why we always start up with a workshop where we, together with the client, we try to understand their values as a brand. We try to understand how huge is their product portfolio, what are the really important things they need to showcase. Sometimes it's you have many products, but there's like 20 you need to showcase in a virtual showroom, but you want to do it really well, as interactive as possible, as realistic as possible, as good user experience as possible. So usually we try to get to the point where we have enough input to offer client an all-inclusive solution without them having to be like operationally involved too much, because they have other things to do. We try to offer them all-inclusive. But usually our clients so far, most of them have had their own 3D files, 3D models of their products already from the manufacturing side. Sometimes we have done like photogrammetry to get it as realistic as possible. So it's always case by case, but usually the first thing is to understand the client. Second thing is to understand what they already have in terms of like 3D files and input, and if they have their own vision or not, and then offering them something that like hits their targets.
The last thing I think for today with Madis, because we're also stealing time away from our other fantastic guests, is the question from Lucas before, who asked about using this online or interactive 3D content for online trainings for salespeople, whichever type of department. And I feel, Madis, would it be unfair if I would take that away from you and answer that from Arcware's perspective?
Do it.
That's fine if I answer this one, or is this more your, or do you, because you haven't had a lot of clients who did this, right?
Yep.
So then I am just going to answer this question for you, Lucas, because, oh, sorry, was it Mike's question? Sorry, Lucas, then I will find your question in a bit again. So for the online training, what we see, because we have several hundred users already who are streaming many different projects for their clients, what we see is that online training is a big aspect of this field, simply because they're just, as also apparent in Madis's presentation, there's just so much that you cannot always move physically yourself. And so we've had training content from oil companies who, they need to train that safety on the rig. And it's just so much easier to train that at home than flying people from all over the world to a specific rig, because, all rigs aren't exactly easily accessible. for very good reason. And so being able to train that at home, even on your phone, if you'd want to, is obviously a fantastic improvement, saves massively your costs.
Even simulating some, let's say, catastrophe
Exactly,
scenarios, which
because
is impossible to even simulate
because
in some cases.
exactly, because what you would also really want to have is you want to like really hammer down a point. And how can you do that better than actually having that same jump scare moment when you supposedly had to turn something or you didn't connect something and now you fell off the oil field, that's oil rig. That's exactly what you want to simulate, because from mistakes, that's how we learn.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's perfect. We've also seen it for people who sell things and then later use this content to actually train the people to use it. And so again, you know, if your client's on the other side of the world and you need to train it, you can of course use a Teams call, but having them actually do it themselves is a lot, you know, that's how you really learn, because you almost even start building muscle memory. So we definitely see a lot of this happening. And if any of you are a company who would like to get started with this, and of course, this is the guy to ask questions, or Madis, or Fatih, Rudy, Stefan, or Fabrice. But yes, I hope that answered the question. And I'm now quickly looking for Lucas's question, who I otherwise, yes, thank you. I found it, Lucas. How do you handle large amounts of data, like hundreds of possible configurations? We are looking into how to handle lots of cut models, but the file size is getting out of hand.
I think I can answer this question.
I think that is a fantastic place to.
And then we continue with the next one.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. So how you do that is, we had, of course, exactly these cases, projects that might contain, if you go to the classic way, a lot of whatever buildings and too much. It's just too much data. You can kind of handle the start time of the application, but then loading every scene, it's just might be crazy. So how you do it? We already have an asset management. It's on beta, and kind of the fundamental thing on making something scalable, having, let's say, 1,000 buildings with even one project. You don't even more projects. It's just going to asynchronously loading assets on runtime. And that can be done with many methods. Now, lately, the hype is also on the USD-Z format. The problem there is that you cannot bring actual functionalities. Like, it brings almost everything, even animations and stuff, but not code. So the best method to do that, if you want to even bring complete level scenes with the whole functionality, is the classic patching TLC method from Epic Games, APK format. So that's how you do it. That means you can have one application in the short, like, and then in the asset management, let's say 100 buildings, and then you have a front end on the other side. By going to a particular web page, it calls, let's say, the building A, and the building A is asynchronously loaded, and the client takes what he needs. That means you have a super lightweight master application which starts fast, and then it chain loads everything on runtime. This can be done, of course, through, again, hyperscalers, AVS and stuff. The drawback there is by every call you pay. We also developed something, we call it asset management. It's a beta service on our end. You can find it in the documentation. If you need access, we can give. It's 2-week trial, and then you go with the flow. And yeah, that's it. The win in our side is that you have a 10 gigabit connection in the kind of LAN, because you are in the data center, you are in the GPU cluster near. So, and it's even using another network interface. That means you never interfere your, streaming channel, and that's super fast. And yeah, that's it. That's the way to scale, even thousands, 10,000s, it doesn't matter. It's just a repository.
Very good. So, Luca, everyone's questions is answered. Then I think it is time to either ask for a break or to continue with Rudy and Stefan. So if there's anyone who needs a bio break, refill their cup of tea, Coke, beer, whatever it is that you have, let us know, because then we wait. Otherwise, we will march on, because we have a lot of content to go through, which I think is definitely worth staying for.